I do want to ask you guys, Goodman, I'll go to you first. It's 2 in a row that Auburn has lost. The context is it's come after they clinched the SEC regular season title. They pretty much are locked to be just about a guarantee number 1 overall seed. If not, it's them or Duke, right? And we'll talk about that here in a second. So the motivation maybe isn't quite there, and there's only it's different when you are playing to win versus playing for the chance to be able to make sure that you have that number 1 seed, right? There's a different level of motivation when you're Alabama in this. I know it's a rivalry, whatever. Are you worried about Auburn at this point at all? Is there any bit of doubt that is creeping in with you? Are there any cracks in the armor that you were starting to see?
When I was there 2 weeks ago, all they were talking about, especially Janai, was winning the regular season title. That was it. When can we do it? Where do we do it? Can we do it at home? But all they were thinking about was that. And then I think once they did it, it was a little bit of a letdown. And I'm not saying it was a letdown today. They played great today. I mean, that was as high level a game as maybe there's been played almost all season, with a lot on the line, especially with the fact that, again, the rivalry, the in-state rivalry there. Listen, I think Auburn's a little banged up, number 1. Denver Jones isn't 100% still. Janai doesn't look quite 100%, even though he had 36 points today, which is crazy that I'm saying that. And Chad Baker-Mazara, listen, he's got to figure this out. And I don't know if he can before the end of the season here. I mean, this is it. The tournament's starting. He's played college basketball for however many years, and he's still making these dumb mistakes, and he's getting tossed out of games, important games, at crunch time, like 10 minutes left in a close game. So Bruce has got to sit down and I know Bruce doesn't want to lose what makes Baker-Mazara him, right? That edge, the trash talk, all that. But today it was cheap shots. It was a cheap shot, the last one.
Mike?
Yeah. I'll start broad and work my way in here on Auburn, because I don't really want to hear the regular season title, foot off the gas thing. Like, if you really have aspirations of winning a national title, and I watched, like, we all watched the game today. I mean, there was no part throughout that game where I was like, yeah, Auburn just doesn't want to win this game. They wanted to win that game. They absolutely did. And like, in implying that, like, and I'm not saying you two did this, but I'm just saying, like, you hear it out there, like, implying that, foot was off the gas and, they already won the regular season, I think takes away from what Alabama did today on that court. Auburn absolutely wanted to win that game. No question. And look, I think, if you want to look just at what I've observed since they won that regular season title, like, there has been containing dribble penetration defensively has been an issue at times. We saw it against Texas A&M, and why it's such an issue is, and it's the exact reason why Alabama today, I mean, they said it on the broadcast and then they said it at halftime. And the whole thing was, well, Auburn's doing their job. They're forcing tough twos, and Alabama's only taking 8 threes this game. Alabama only took 8 threes because they were straight line driving and getting into the paint. They didn't need to take threes. And so, I mean, they scored 44 points in the first half, and a lot of that was getting downhill. And the reason why, like, for Auburn, it's so tough and why they got, beat on the glass against A&M. I know A&M beats everybody on the glass, but when you can't contain dribble penetration, and then you have Cardwell and you have Broom on the back line, and those guys want to come over and try to help recover or try to help go and block the shot or go and contest the shot, now you're leaving free runs for Grant Nelson, for Cliff O'Murray, for these guys to be, completely uncontested for offensive rebounds. And then it collapses your defense. And that's what happened in the first half. They got it figured out, I thought, for a portion of that second half. But that's just something I'm continuing to watch. Like, is that a trend? Because even if you want to say, okay, they already won the regular season, like, you're still building habits, game in and game out, heading into March. You still want to be ascending heading into March. I mean, we'll talk about Duke, obviously, but you touched on Chad Baker-Mazara, right? Like, all these teams that are on the one line, or, the 5 or 6 that you feel good about potentially contending for a title, there's a trust factor. Like, there are certain things, like, when I look at Duke, I trust Duke a lot.
Yes.
from a body language standpoint. I mean, I've tell like they're militant with how they go about things. And for Auburn, and it's really like a lot of times it's Chad Baker-Mazara. And I just like at this point, again, like it's the one thing I think that gives me pause about Auburn, because the stuff that gets him in trouble is also the stuff that makes him good, right? Like the emotion he plays with, the passion he plays with, that's all good stuff if he can channel it in the right way. And look, like I just think there's a lot of good teams that if Chad Baker-Mazara makes those types of mental errors and gets himself tossed and hurts his team, teams are going to make you pay for that. They're going to make you pay for that, and they could end your season. We saw it last year. So I'm still high on Auburn. I still think Auburn has a really good shot to win a title, no doubt about that. But there are certain things that I think have popped up that make you have a little bit of pause, as opposed to being like, hey, this is with a bullet, the number one team that would be on top of my list to win a national title.